So we're obviously talking Kyrie Irving today on the platform. Let me just start by saying it's a very multifaceted thing. There are components to this. I'm going to jump in and out of reporter to a little bit of my perspective, commentary, and analysis. So bear with me here. There's a lot to unpack, obviously, with Kyrie Irving, but I want to do it correctly. I actually do have a source on this one that I've been holding on for the last few days. So let's start here. Kyrie Irving has been away from the Brooklyn Nets over the last week. So this is what happened. A week ago today, on Wednesday, we obviously know what happened in our country. A lot of Trump supporters went to the Capitol and they rioted. They broke things. They harmed people. They broke into stuff. They rioted in support of Donald Trump remaining president of the United States. Around that same day, Kyrie Irving made a decision that I'm pretty confident, and I don't know this part for sure, I'm pretty confident had been on his mind for quite some time. Kyrie Irving, after the incident, said he didn't want to play basketball anymore. Games went by. As a matter of fact, the first game, the Nets went out, and they actually won against the Sixers, who were at the time 7-1, I believe. Then the Nets went to Memphis the next day. Kyrie Irving did not make the trip. All right, so with all this being said, Steve Nash, the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, was asked had he talked to Kyrie Irving. Steve said he hadn't talked to him. The players, on the other hand, said they had talked to Kyrie and he had properly communicated to them that he would not be with the team for the foreseeable future. Okay, here's why I think this part of the story cannot go, we can't just overlook this part of it, right? It's important. Remember, going into this season, Steve Nash told Kevin Durant on that podcast, or maybe it was IG Live, he was like, I don't even feel like we need a head coach. So another opportunity has passed by with Kyrie Irving and a Steve Nash who's a two-time MVP. Another opportunity passed by in which Kyrie could have built with his head coach, Steve Nash. A coach that, by the way, a couple months ago, he felt like the team didn't need. He didn't even tell Steve Nash that he wasn't going to be with the team. So he just no call, no show in the work. That tells you all you need to know about what Kyrie Irving thinks about Steve Nash. So the Nets go to Memphis. They get spanked. The Nets lose another game on Sunday. Kevin Durant returns. And last night, the Nets pulled out a big-time win against the Denver Nuggets. Kevin Durant was incredible, but still no Kyrie Irving. Okay, so what I want you to do is throw out any information that you've heard about Kyrie Irving at a party with no mask on. Kyrie Irving, don't worry about Kyrie Irving at a party with no mask on. Don't worry about that. It's irrelevant to this story. Has no bearing on this story because the brother wasn't playing basketball anyway. It doesn't matter. He's quit right now. So it doesn't matter what he's doing in his off time. Who cares about a protocol when you're not playing basketball right now? So don't worry about that. The more important image you need to remember is that of Kyrie Irving, who was present at some type of district attorney meeting on Zoom the other day. Kyrie Irving was in a Zoom meeting in which some I believe this is out there in that on the East Coast. He was present for some type of district attorney meeting. They thanked him for being there. Again, it was on Zoom. But that's more important than Kyrie going to a party. Don't worry about that. He doesn't want to play basketball anyway right now. Kyrie Irving's mind, though, is shifting from basketball into social activism. Now, people want me to come on here and criticize and kill Kyrie Irving. I'm not going to do that out the gate. The reason why I say that is because I understand Kyrie Irving being upset about what happened in D.C. You need a game or two to get your thoughts together. Okay, the Nets get back from Memphis playing the Grizzlies. You should have been ready to go to play basketball over the weekend. We gave you a couple days to get your head right. I understand Kyrie's frustration. A lot going on in our country. And, you know, the NBA players, even though Kyrie wasn't in the bubble, they got highly scrutinized for their, you know, the way they protested in the bubble, kneeling. They get criticized for that now. Kneeling. People were calling them out for kneeling, you know, in the middle of games, before games, whatever, right? And Kyrie and the NBA can look at it like, yo, Y'all were mad at us for kneeling or protesting or trying to find ways to be a part of our community and help out when you got people literally going into the Capitol, burning down flags and replacing them with Trump flags. Like, what's more of a disrespectful protest? Us kneeling and people literally removing the American flag. It doesn't get more disrespectful than that. And then also remember the Jacob Blake, the police officers involved in that one were not charged. That happened last week as well. So obviously I can understand you needed a day or two to get your thoughts together. I wasn't going to kill Kyrie for that. Here's where it gets ridiculous to me with Kyrie Irving. Now we're in the part of the video where I just can't justify this man's action. He took a couple games. He's still not playing. All right? So, you know, the Nets lost Spencer Dinwiddie a couple weeks ago. He's a guard. Now, Karis LeVert is more than capable of being a starting guard for Brooklyn. He's actually playing really good basketball right now. But dang, Kyrie, you going to leave your team like that when y'all already down a guard or two? Like, you really going to do your teammates like that? You and Kevin Durant got on that phone and got on that podcast and IG Live for weeks and talked about how happy you guys were to be playing basketball. KD's coming off that big injury. Like, you really going to do your teammates like that, Kai? Like, you just going to quit on them in the middle of the season? Everybody that cares is frustrated about what's happening in this country. That's a privilege to be able to say, I'm not going to work for a week. No call, no show at that, and still have your job. You want to know why you still have your job? Because, Kyrie, you're one of the 300 best people in the world at dribbling the basketball. That's why you still got your job. I can't no call, no show my job for a week and expect this to just walk in into my boss and say, hey, oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to let y'all know that I ain't really want to play basketball for the last week. Come on, bro. That's how you going to do it? Like, that part of it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think Kyrie Irving's head's been in basketball for quite some time. I just think this is the excuse that he wanted. I got a text message from somebody who knows someone who knows someone. Look, I'm not plugged in to the point where I have a direct source to Kyrie Irving. I'm not even sure if I want that bad boy right now. But I know somebody who knows somebody who's been able to at least get around Kyrie Irving. I want to read to you guys what they told me verbatim. This is what they told me. Kyrie Irving does not believe the world is deserving of his talents right now. He's not playing basketball. So we obviously know what Kyrie Irving thinks of the media. He called them pawns right before the season. We obviously know that Kyrie Irving believes he's this deep thinker, this philosophical thinker. I think honest to God, truth, I think he overthinks everything, and that's part of the issue. I understand Kyrie Irving wants to be a part of his community, but somebody tell Kyrie Irving this. You can play basketball and be active in your community at the same time. I believe this is more about Kyrie's heart just not being in basketball. This is somebody who's been playing phenomenal ball all year. He's been balling this year, but his head ain't in it. His head ain't in it. And for that, I agree with a lot of people, a lot of basketball pundits who come on the televisions today, the airwave today, and said Kyrie Irving should strongly consider retiring from basketball. He's doing his teammates a disservice. He's doing the league a disservice. And I know we don't really got fans in most of the NBA venues right now, but dang, Kyrie, you're doing the fans of the game a disservice. Like, can you imagine a kid being a Kyrie Irving fan? Like, he just don't want to play. Kyrie, you are privileged, my brother. It is a privilege to do what you do every day. It's a privilege to do what I do every day for a living, and I don't take it for granted. And obviously, I don't make the money that you make. Like, bro, we have lost sight of privilege in this country. That's a problem to me. There's privilege in white America, in corporate America, and there's definitely privilege in NBA America. We're losing sight of that, and that bothers me. Even as black athletes, there's a lot of privilege in being one of 100, 200 guys that's able to afford their living dribbling a basketball. And Kyrie Irving is one of the top 10 brands in the NBA. This dude doesn't need to dribble a ball for the rest of his life financially because the NBA has been so good to him. Nike has been so good to him. Uncle Drew has been so good to him. But the fact that he did it this way, to start something like this, as your man's KD comes back from injury, to do it like this, and the reason why I bring up Kevin Durant coming back from injury, obviously it would be nice for KD to miss a game or two in between, as he tries to bounce back from this Achilles surgery, right? he doesn't have that luxury right now. He's trying to help keep the Nets afloat. They were on the verge of, KD missed all of last week, and it wasn't his fault. It was a COVID tracing thing. Like, they were on the verge of about to lose 3-4 games in a row if KD didn't return when he did. So the way he went about it is just all wrong to me. It just screams selfishness to me. And what Kyrie is failing to realize is, yes, this is your purpose. You seem to be very involved in your activism right now. But because everybody's not on your wavelength, Kyrie, I don't think you should look down on them. Like, he's looking down on people that's not on the wave that he's on right now. Kyrie, you got teammates that ain't making $30, $40 million a year. They're fighting for their lives. They're trying to create that generational wealth that you've been so privileged to do with your basketball talents because you are an incredible player. They're trying to make that money. They make more money with you on the basketball court. If the Brooklyn Nets go on to win a championship this year, obviously those guys are going to get new deals. If the Nets have more success, these guys are going to go on and make more money. My problem with Kyrie Irving is that, for me, it seems like he's a guy who doesn't want to play basketball, but he's utilized real issues to remove himself from basketball. And I'm not just talking about this situation. Kyrie Irving right now doesn't want to play ball because he's blaming what happened in D.C. for the reason why he didn't want to play basketball. I think he was fed up before that. But remember, and I told y'all this on this platform, if you've been following me for a long time here, you know what the heck I'm talking about. Last April, May, when the NBA was putting together the bubble, Kyrie came out and did that big call with about 70 NBA players, and he said, I don't think we should be playing basketball right now. With the George Floyd shooting, obviously you had the Ahmaud Arbery shooting. I know that wasn't police-related, but it seems to be an unjust shoot to the best of my knowledge. With so much going on, the shooting in Atlanta, please forgive me, I forgot that gentleman's name. Is on the tip of my tongue right now. With so much going on, Kyrie Irving told those players on the phone, I don't think we should be playing basketball right now. Now, who's to say Kyrie Irving was wrong about that? I don't know. Looking back, should those NBA players have went to the bubble and played ball? I believe their platforms and their voices were stronger with them being in the bubble playing basketball. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks sat out after the Jacob Blake shooting, a playoff game, game 3, if I'm not mistaken, and look how much came from that. They got the governor of Wisconsin on the phone, if I'm not mistaken, and they were able to talk through some of their concerns. That's power. George Hill doesn't have power without the NBA playing basketball. LeBron can go out there on his platform every day of the year and speak out, but everybody doesn't have LeBron James level power. Kyrie was the voice that spoke out and said, hey guys, I don't think we should be playing right now. Is he right? Am I right? Hey, that's to each his own, right? My problem with what Kyrie Irving did was, number one, Kyrie Irving was injured. He was already done for the season. And according to Matt Barnes, we know Matt Barnes got the All the Smoke podcast. He's also a very plugged in former player. Matt Barnes said Kyrie Irving, and I'm just using his words, Matt Barnes said Kyrie Irving was trying to get the league to not go to the bubble, not because he actually cared about the issues, but because he was pissed at the league for not allowing him to go to the bubble. The NBA denied Kyrie Irving's request to go to Orlando to be with his teammates because they wanted to limit the amount of people that were there that wouldn't be playing basketball or helping the process of playing basketball night to night. The coaches couldn't even have their families there. The players couldn't have their families there until after the first round of the playoffs. So they obviously wouldn't want a guy in Kyrie Irving who clearly was already done with season-ending surgery. So that's why they didn't want him there. And Matt Barnes claims that's why Kyrie tried to stop the NBA from happening. It had nothing to do with social justice. That's Matt Barnes' words, not mine. But again, we have a scenario in which Kyrie Irving used a real issue to try to cancel the league. Then we hear Kyrie start the rumblings of creating his own league? What? So what? This league that has been great to you, Kyrie, it has been great to you. Now you want to start a new league because you can't get your way? That's interesting. If we go back in time, this gentleman has a track record of lying. That's my problem. He's a compulsive liar. And a lot of people can't see through that. And let me be clear. Kyrie's a good brother for donating that money to the WNBA. Kyrie's a good brother for all the money that he's donated. And to be fair to Kyrie, not only has the brother donated money, what I want to give him the utmost respect for is it seems like he wants to donate his time. As valuable as his time could be, you got to think this dude essentially makes $1,000 per second or something like that when he's on the basketball court. It's crazy, right? But this dude donates his time. Not only is he not playing basketball, it seems like he's doing some of the right things. But my problem with that is I can see through that. Maybe he has right on his mind, but he ain't going about it the correct way. Line in Boston. Yo, Boston, I would love to be here if y'all have me at a pep rally right before the season. And then not even giving the Celtics a meeting after the season. That sounds a little disingenuous. Remember, in Cleveland, there was a spot in the playoffs where Kyrie Irving no longer talked to his teammates for 2 weeks at a time. Do you hear what I'm saying? In the middle of a playoff run, when Kyrie was in Cleveland, when Braun was there are reports, multiple ones, that Kyrie stopped talking to his teammates in Cleveland. Man, this is a guy who seems to be trying to figure it out as a man. He just so happens to be really great at basketball. My problem is he done brought and drug a lot of people into his mess. I can't act like I feel the ultimate sympathy for Kevin Durant today. He knew exactly what the heck he was getting himself into. My problem with the Kyrie and KD component is I feel like Kyrie took advantage of KD. I feel like his heart ain't been in basketball for quite some time. But instead of doing the right thing, which was allowing KD to go somewhere else, go to New York or wherever KD wanted to go at the time, now KD's stuck in a 4-year deal. He's in love with basketball still. He's in love with basketball. And his all-star teammate is no longer. Kyrie Irving should consider retiring from basketball. You know, it's the fair thing to do with his teammates. Maybe the league would allow the Nets to recoup some of that contract so they can go out and get guys that want to be there. It's a very unfortunate situation. I don't know when it gets resolved. Maybe Kyrie comes back and plays basketball tomorrow. I don't know. But for right now, the brother's done with the game. Seems like he's got other things on his mind. My only thing is, Kyrie, if that's where you're at with it, fine. You've made enough money to do that. If you want to retire right now, do that. I think you'll be doing yourself a disservice as incredible a talent you are, especially with you having health on your side this year, when that's not been the case in years past. I mean, heck, he got to Brooklyn last year and had a great first month of the season, kind of similar to this year. Then he gets hurt, misses some time, comes back and dogs his teammates out, and then gets injured again and misses the rest of the season. Like, I think you owe the Nets something after they've already paid you essentially 1.5 years worth of money. But hey, to each his own. If you want to retire right now, do what you got to do, but don't drag your teammates through this. Like, if you're Kevin Durant right now, I'm sure you're waking up like, what the heck did I get myself into? I feel like Kyrie kind of took advantage of KD in that regard, because KD's he's obviously not an alpha male in the room personality. He's an alpha male player, but not an alpha male personality. And I feel like he impaired, and I feel like he put his trust in Kyrie, and Kyrie did him dirty. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one in totality. I went long on this one, man, but it had to be said. Some interesting components to this one. Kyrie Irving, for right now, is no longer playing basketball with the Brooklyn Nets, and we don't know when he will return.